Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room. You won't think twice about it, but for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went dark, and something inside you still hasn't caught up. You know the feeling. You walk into a dark room and your hand searches the wall before your mind even asks it to. Your heart rate ticks up just slightly. Your eyes widen, trying to pull in more light than exists. You tell yourself there's nothing there, but some older part of you disagrees. Why does a fully grown adult, standing in their own home, still flinch at shadows? The obvious answer is that darkness hides danger. That's true, but it's not the real answer. The real answer is far stranger. Your fear of the dark isn't really about the dark at all. It's about uncertainty, and your brain built an entire alarm system around not knowing. Start with your ancestors. For millions of years, before fire was tamed and long before walls existed, nightfall meant something specific. It meant your best sense, vision, stopped working. Predators that hunted at night did not share that disadvantage. Big cats, hyenas, snakes. Their eyes were built for low light. Yours were not. So when the sun dropped below the horizon, the odds shifted. Suddenly you were the one being hunted, not the one hunting. This is where evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse comes in. Nesse has spent decades studying why fear exists at all, and his conclusion reshaped how scientists think about anxiety. He calls it the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector is designed to go off too often, not too rarely. A few false alarms cost you almost nothing, but missing one real fire could cost your life. Evolution built your fear response the same way. Cheap, frequent, oversensitive alarms. Because the cost of one wrong guess back then was your life. That's why your brain doesn't wait for proof of danger in the dark. It reacts to the absence of information. No proof of safety is treated the same as proof of danger. Harsh, but efficient. And it kept enough of your ancestors alive long enough to pass that wiring down to you. Here's where it gets stranger. Researchers at the National Institute of Mental Health, led by neuroscientist Christian Grillon, ran a series of experiments testing something simple. They exposed participants to unexpected, startling sounds, first in a lit room, then in a dark one. The results were consistent. In darkness, the startle response was measurably stronger. Same sound, same person, different light, different level of fear. Darkness wasn't adding danger to the room, it was adding uncertainty. And uncertainty, to your nervous system, reads as threat. Think about what darkness actually removes. Not safety, information. In full light, you can scan a room in a fraction of a second and confirm nothing is wrong. In darkness, that confirmation is gone. Your brain can't rule anything out. And a brain that can't rule anything out defaults to preparing for the worst possible thing. Not because the worst thing is likely, because the cost of being wrong was, for most of human history, catastrophic. This wiring didn't stay in the wild. It moved into your bedroom. Ask any parent about a child afraid of the dark, and you'll hear nearly the same story again and again. The fear peaks somewhere between ages 2 and 6. That's not a coincidence. That's the exact developmental window where children are old enough to imagine threats, but not yet equipped to reason their way out of them. Their world is expanding faster than their ability to evaluate it. So the mind fills the darkness with something to fear. A shape near the closet, a sound under the bed. Nothing was ever there, but something had to be. You grew out of the monsters, the mechanism never left. Consider what happens to adults during a power outage. Not the practical hassle of no lights, the psychological shift. Studies on stress physiology have shown that unpredictable environments, ones where you cannot anticipate what happens next, produce more sustained anxiety than environments with a known, even severe threat. A dark room with a known danger in it is, strangely, less distressing to the nervous system than a dark room where anything could be there. Your brain doesn't fear the monster. It fears not knowing if there's a monster at all. There's an evolutionary landscape theory here too, developed in part by ecologist Gordon Orians, who studied why humans across cultures gravitate towards certain environments. Open spaces with scattered trees, elevated viewpoints, visibility in every direction. Orians argued this preference is inherited, not learned, rooted in the advantage those landscapes once offered. You could see danger coming. You could see an escape route. Now flip that principle around. Darkness is the total opposite of that preferred landscape. No visibility, no escape route you can confirm, no advance warning. It is, in a very real sense, the least evolutionarily comfortable environment your brain can be placed in, and your body knows it before your conscious mind catches up. Pupils dilate to gather what little light exists. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, rises slightly even in familiar dark spaces. Your amygdala, the brain's early threat detector, becomes more active, scanning for patterns and shapes that don't actually contain any. This is why a coat on a chair can, for 1/2 of a second, look exactly like a person standing still. Your visual system isn't malfunctioning. It's doing precisely what it evolved to do: fill gaps in information with the most dangerous plausible explanation, just in case. Here's the twist most people never consider. This fear response isn't a flaw in your design. It's not something broken that needs fixing. It's a feature that outlived its original environment. The system worked. It kept enough humans alive, across enough dark nights, on enough unlit plains, that the trait spread through the entire species. You are, quite literally, descended from the individuals who were appropriately nervous in the dark. The ones who wandered out casually, unbothered, confident nothing was watching. Many of them did not get the chance to pass that confidence on. So when your pulse rises walking to a car in an unlit parking lot, that's not irrational. That's ancestral. When a child insists on a nightlight, that's not weakness. That's a mind too young to separate real threats from imagined ones, doing exactly what young minds are supposed to do while that skill develops. And when you, as a fully grown adult, still hesitate before stepping into a pitch-black basement, that's not something to be embarrassed about. That's tens of thousands of generations agreeing with you, all at once. Modern life has almost entirely removed the original danger. Streetlights, phone flashlights, locked doors, motion sensor lights that flick on the second you approach. You are, statistically, safer in the dark today than your ancestors were at almost any point in noon daylight 10,000 years ago. But statistics don't rewrite instinct. Instinct was built for a different world, and it hasn't received the memo that the world changed. This mismatch has a name in evolutionary psychology. Researchers call it an evolutionary mismatch, when a trait that was adaptive in one environment becomes unnecessary, or even counterproductive in a new one. Your appetite for sugar, built for a world of scarcity, is one example. Your fear of the dark, built for a world of nighttime predators, is another. Both systems are working exactly as designed. The world around them is simply no longer the one they were designed for. Knowing this doesn't erase the fear. Understanding the mechanism rarely turns off the alarm, but it does change what the feeling means. That flicker of unease when the lights go out isn't a personal weakness. It isn't proof that you're overly anxious or that something is wrong with you. It's evidence that your nervous system worked exactly as intended, passed down through an unbroken chain of ancestors who felt that same flicker and chose, every single time, to be careful. So tonight, when the sun goes down and you flip that switch, notice what you're really doing. You're not just turning on a light, you're answering a question your body has been asking since before humans could speak. Is it safe? And for one more night, you get to say yes, without ever having to find out what would have happened if you'd said nothing at all.